Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Veeam Backup and Replication version 12 tips and tricks. In today's installment I wanted to talk about upgrading Postgres to the newest possible version, and we are gonna be speaking here not just about going from the same version to the upper version, but in the same scale. We're gonna actually jump from the version 15.8 to version 16. So we're gonna be jumping to a different version scale. Okay, so basically if you want to know about how to upgrade PostgreSQL to a higher version, if you installed the newest Veeam Backup and Replication version 12, you will probably have PostgreSQL version 15. So of course, in order to have version 15.8, you just need to download the installer from the Postgres download site, which is this one, and you need to just run the installer, and while you run the installer you will be able to upgrade the existing database from the version 15 to version 15.8. Of course, if you want to see how it works and how it should be done, you can check it out on my channel. I got this video done in my Veeam series, but now we are gonna be actually jumping from this version to this version, which is the newest one. And the way that I'm gonna show you here in this video was actually created by me. I came up with this idea with some research from the internet. So I just want for you to know that this thing was tested only by me. It is not approved by Veeam. You won't find any kind of information about it on forums, and if any, you will find only info about official documentation of Veeam, how some things should be done, and the same goes to PostgreSQL forums. So, of course, a second disclaimer about this upgrade. Remember that you're doing this on your own, and if something goes wrong, then bear in mind that it's only a theory that I have tested, and it basically worked in my environment. So if something goes wrong, just remember that you have error logs, and you need to go through the error logs of Veeam or the error logs of PostgreSQL and then figure out what's going on in your instance, because every environment might be a little bit different. But if you actually follow this video to a T, so basically step by step, not changing anything on your own, then everything should be fine. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, I'm gonna just go to my control panel. And here, as you can see, I got PostgreSQL version 15.8, so I already upgraded to the version 15.8, because when I installed Veeam, of course, I had only version 15 here. So in order for this upgrade to be effective, without any errors, you need to have version 15.8 installed. At least that's the version I was working with and testing it on. So I don't know, you can check with other versions if you wish, but I done it on this this newest version in this range scale of 15 series. Okay, so as you can see, of course, I got Veeam installed. Everything is based on PostgreSQL. Okay, so I have also done some kind of notes here what you should do, just to remember. So first thing, you need to stop both services, the old one and the new one. Of course, I only have now Postgres 15.8 installed, so in order for your upgrade first you need to download the newest version, 16.4, which I'm gonna do now. And now we just need to actually open the installer and install the version. Why am I doing this? Well, because the newest version of PostgreSQL has all the necessary scripts for the upgrade. So you need to install the instance. If you're using pgadmin, of course, you can leave it on. I'm not gonna install it. Data directory is gonna be situated here, of course. And this is one of the most important things here. So this installation is creating a Postgres user. So I'm gonna give this user a password. And now, as you can see, please select the port number the server should listen on. So if I try to actually change it to 5432, because that's the port that I was forced to choose when I was installing Veeam with version 15. If I do this, as you can see, the port number is already taken. So we need to choose the port 33 here. Of course, I'm gonna change to my default locals, which in my case is this. And now we can commence with the normal installation. So as you can see, in this installment you cannot just upgrade the PostgreSQL version to a higher one like it was in the version 15.8, because if you are in the same series, the installer will allow you to upgrade everything without any problems. But if you are jumping from version to version, like here, you need to do it in a totally different way. And since our Veeam is based on our PostgreSQL, then all of this needs to be done with caution. Okay, so as of now, let's check services. So if we check now Postgres, now we got our old service responsible for our Veeam and our new service. So basically what we need to do now, we need to stop both of those services. Okay, now let's check what's next. Okay, so next step, we're gonna need to go to our program files. We're gonna go to Postgres, and here we have our two folders, so the version 15 folder and the newest version 16. So both folders basically have almost the same things. Of course, this one has all the necessary schemas and things regarding Veeam that we are gonna copy to this one, but that's later on. Now, if we go to our original, we go to data. If we go to PGHBA, we can open it with a notepad. And here we need to change this method to trust. The same goes to this one. Okay, so basically after saving the changes to our PGHBA, we need to go now to our newest version. We need to again go to the data folder and we need to do the same thing here. Okay, so next step, now we're gonna go to MMC, gonna go to local users and groups, and we're gonna create a new user. It's need to be called Postgres. This is very important. Remember the user that was actually created while you created Postgres 16. I'm giving it this user the same password that I gave the previous one when the installation of Postgres 16 was actually commencing. Okay, and I'm gonna just go to properties here. I'm gonna make it a member of administrative group. Later on we'll be able to just scratch this user. Okay, so we got the user set up with the privileges of the administrator. Now what we need to do, we need to go here again to Postgres. We need to actually change the permissions of those two folders. Gonna choose Postgres, gonna allow everything. We're gonna do the same here. Okay. And now very important thing, we need to actually change the permissions on the data folder as well. Okay. And we need to do the same here. Because the data folder is the main folder that is gonna be upgraded. So we need to have full permissions here. Okay. Next step. So I don't here have another partition. So I need to fix this. So I need to add a disk here, because I will actually need another disk to perform the upgrade. So actually, it's quite important to have another space even if it's gonna be small, like it can be just like a couple of megabytes. Doesn't matter if you have a little bit of space from your like main partition, and you can just like take some space from the main partition and create another disk. Then it's necessary for this upgrade to be successful, and I will show you why. Okay, so now let's check. I should have another disk available. Okay, that's fine. So now I'm just gonna go to this other disk and I'm gonna create here a folder called temp. And basically we are gonna run the whole installation process from this folder, because it doesn't have any privileges here set up that are gonna prevent us from running the commandlets from PowerShell. Because if you go to the C drive, if we go to program files and Postgres, and if you check any of those folders, you can see read only. So even if I untick this, apply, doesn't matter, it's gonna be right back on. So you cannot have read only on the data folder, and once it's here, it's gonna be always read only. So we are gonna comments because actually in the data folder we are gonna be using well, it's not the data folder, it's in the bin folder. We are gonna be using one of those scripts that we have here that is called pg upgrade. If we check in the properties here, as you can see, it has the Postgres user, it has all the rights, but still it doesn't matter, it's still only read, doesn't have write permissions here, because this has. So we need to actually run this, invoke this script from inside here, but we need to do it from here. Okay, let's check services. Okay, so our services are stopped. We have created the user, we have created a disk space just to perform the upgrade. Okay, so now we are gonna be actually opening a console with the user Postgres. So the user that we are actually created here locally needs to be called Postgres. It cannot be called any other different name. And now we're going to be invoking this user. Okay, so once this window appears of PowerShell, you're now logged in as the Postgres user. You need to close down this window and leave only this one. Now we need to change our directory to the second drive that we actually have, so the E drive, and we need to go to the temp directory. Okay. And now the most important thing of it all. So as you can see, this is the line that is going to be responsible for synchronizing and copying all the data from our old Postgres instance from the 15 to our new instance, which is 16. So first of all, you need to check all of the paths if they are correct at your instance. So just bear in mind, before you actually change all of this, need to check all of those paths. Just copy and, for example, paste them and see if all of those paths actually open and they show the files that we are gonna be using here. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like this because I want you to see the error that is gonna appear here, because this is not the full line that should be actually submitted. But that's good, because I want the error to occur so I can actually speak about it. Okay, so first of all, my instance of Postgres is located on disk C, so basically we are using everything from disk C, but everything is being invoked from the second disk, from the E-disk, from the temp folder. Thanks to that, the PostgreSQL upgrade script will be able to have the read and write permissions. Okay, so as you can see in here, I got a program, and I have here this one special additional point, additional sign, and then I have files. So I will actually link down this all of this line in the description of the video, so you can just basically copy and paste it if you're going to be using it in your upgrades. Because if you don't include this little this little sign here, you won't be able to run this commandlet properly, and you will always get an error. So basically, if I've done it without this this little sign, it wouldn't work. That's the way Windows works. That's the way commandlets work here. So okay, so basically what we are doing, we are invoking pg upgrade exe. We are specifying the old data directory. So as you can see, I got here C program files PostgreSQL 15, and now we have the new data directory, which is C program files PostgreSQL 16. Old-bin directory, which is situated in program files PostgreSQL 15 bin. As you can see here, there is no problem in the name program files, because it's actually in those exclamation points here. But here we don't have any exclamation points, so it's a different kind of invoking the commandlet. That's why we are specifying this with this additional sign here. Of course, now we have new bin directory, which is C program files PostgreSQL 16 version bin directory. And now, of course, the very important thing about the ports. As you remembered, we installed version 16 on port 5433, but we need to operate on port 5432. So we are specifying old port here, and we are specifying the new port. Okay, now let us actually run this. And as you can see, I have an error because could not open version file. So basically it goes to this path and it cannot find pg version. Why? Because in here you need to actually specify data, because this is data directory, because you get bin directory and you get data directory. Just like that. Okay, now we need to wait, because this is gonna upgrade everything. And now one very important thing about this upgrade. If the upgrade commences and it's gonna be successful, 100% successful, your PostgreSQL 16 service should come up on its own, should be restarted, and it should be up once you go to services. I'm just gonna close the services for now. And all that it's actually left is waiting here. So now it's gonna be copying all the relevant files from your old Postgres database. Like I said, once again, this is my version of upgrading everything for Veeam. So bear in mind that this is just a test that actually worked for me. So this is not sanctioned, this is not approved by Veeam. If you want to do it, you're doing it on your own. So bear that in mind. But I didn't have any problems. After I actually upgraded to the newest version, my database went without any problems. I was able to use Veeam without any problems. So okay, so the upgrade has completed, like it said here. Now we have here one more thing to do. So once you start the new server, consider running. So this is the commandlet here that we need to run, because this is basically gonna vacuum all of the remains that should be deleted. So it will basically invoke delete old cluster, that or something like this. They are specifying it here. Of course, in order to invoke this, you need to actually do it the same way we have done it here. So you need to use this sign, otherwise it won't work. So that's the first thing you need to do. Second, we need to open services after the upgrade and see if actually our Postgres 16 service now is up. Okay, so let's check Postgres. Okay, so now let's actually try to start it. So everything is fine, it's running, no errors, that's great. It's a very good indication that your upgrade has been done successfully without any problems. Now you need to also start the second old service, because if you don't, this line won't work at all, because it actually corresponds to the old service. So now once the both services are up, we can commence with this line that is going to be vacuuming all the remains. Now we need to actually go here, we need to stop the service, the old one of course, and we can go to properties here and you can actually disable this service at all, because you won't be using it anymore, you will be using the newest service, which is 16. Okay, so now after all of this, let's check. I'm gonna check my notes. So all the cleanup, of course, we're gonna do the cleanup at the end. I'm not gonna do the cleanup now. Okay, so we can actually close this down, can close this down as well. Now we are gonna go again to our C drive, program files, PostgreSQL, and we're gonna go to the old installation, to the data, and now we need to actually go to pghbaconf. Gonna open it, and what we need to do, I'm gonna copy this mapping method and we need to go to the new instance. I'm gonna go to data, gonna go here, gonna open this, and now we need to change all of those methods to this one, because that's how it was set in Veeam when it got installed at the first place, the first time. So you need to scratch all of this. And I'm gonna save it. Okay, next thing we need to go back once again to version 15, data directory. Now we're gonna go to PG identity. This is also important because this is basically mapping the identity of a user. Okay. Now we can go here, data, PG identity, and we're just gonna do copy paste here. Save. And now the most important file. So we're going again to the old 15 data, and now we're gonna go to the most important file, which is PostgreSQL configuration. So this is the main Postgres configuration file, and as you can see here, the listening address was localhost, and the port, like it was specified, it's 5433. So it's not 33. Sorry, it's not 33, it's 32 here. This is the port that was specified originally, and that's the one that you need to use. So first of all, I'm just gonna copy this. Gonna go back, open the second configuration, the new one. And I'm gonna change this to 32, and I'm gonna save it. Okay, let's close this down. I'm just gonna check my notes. Okay, all of this is done, fine. So basically, now what remains, we need to go to services. We need to find Postgres, and we need to restart the service. Very good, the service went up without any problems. It's up. This one is disabled. And now we need to actually, after all of this, restart everything, so all of the Veeam services are going to be coming up on its own. So I'll pause the video for now, and I will be back in a moment. Okay, so now I'm just gonna be logging in. This server is not a part of a domain, it's just a standalone server with Veeam. And since this is only a virtual machine, doesn't have that much power, so excuse me for everything being a little bit slow, but it needs its time to actually come up with all of the services and stuff. But thanks to that, we will be able to actually see how the services are coming up and do they have any kind of problems or not. Okay, so the server manager is coming up. So I'm gonna leave it for a moment until it actually loads. Okay, so as you can see, I got 16 services here. And of course we get Veeam backup service, which is the most important of them all. Now let's actually start all of them. Okay, so it's gonna take a moment. Until all of them come up. Okay, so it's almost done. Only 2 services left. And all of the services are up. Right, so now we can go to actually services tab. And let's check once again. So now, as you can see, you've got PostgreSQL server 16 running. So from now on, this is your new server and your new database and service that you're going to be using. This is the old one, needs to be disabled and not mixed. And of course, all of the Veeam services are running. Okay, so now let's actually run Veeam. Let's connect. This is gonna take a moment as well, at least in my case. Okay, so this is starting. So while this is starting, we can actually go we should go to program data. Okay, so Veeam has started, and let's check here. I'm gonna go to program data Veeam, backup, and now if we go to SVC Veeam backup, this is the main Veeam backup log. So if we go at the end of the log, you can see, I just wanted to show how it actually looks when everything starts without any errors, and how it should actually look. So this is a clean log without any errors and with a clean start. Okay, let's take a look. There we go. So starting new log, and basically this is how it goes, right? So IP addresses and stuff, don't be suggested about any of this, because those IP addresses are gonna be changed while this once this test is done. So everything is just basically okay. So basically, as you can see, everything is info, 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 info. If you had any errors in the log, I can show you how it actually looks. If you got any errors in your log, it would be like this error, right? So then you would know that something is wrong with your Veeam. Probably the Veeam service, backup service, won't start at all. So if you had this kind of error after the upgrade, you can check. If you got this error, it means that your Veeam service cannot come up. But as you can see, mine doesn't have any errors. It has only info, and that's fine. So everything worked perfectly. The upgrade is done. Veeam is working. So I think we actually made it through with everything successfully. And of course, if you go to the control panel, you can check now. Now you got Postgres 15 and Postgres 16, so I got 16.4-1. Of course, bear in mind that you need to actually go to MMC and actually scratch this user that you have added locally, because this user was only added, this one. So this one needs to be removed. And I think in the security now, Postgres, let's check PostgreSQL 16. Let's check the security tab in properties. doesn't have the Postgres user anymore. Good, great. I'm gonna just close it down for a moment. Let's open up again. Connect. It's fine. Everything is loading like it should be. So just bear in mind that you need to delete this user. It was created just for the purpose of the upgrade. So clean up. Delete the temporary directory as the current directory to execute PG upgrade. So basically, I was talking about the second disk and the temp directory that was created. Remove the file security entries for Postgres, or just remove the Postgres user. Delete the Windows user Postgres as exactly. Change the authentication method. Of course, we are not changing to Scram, we are changing to Veeam because we are using Veeam, so it needs to be mapped to Veeam. And of course, the PostgreSQL service is started. So, if you liked the video, as always, like and subscribe. Consider being a supporter of the channel. And as always, I will see you in the next one.